What's up? It's the Irishman poker. Right, so quick intro to the intro just because. Whoa, nearly went on our back there.
Dangerous, although this man was not serious.
But seeing as it's Christmas season, we're going to give away 10% of this session. You'll see in the next clip how to win that, but little hint, it's our biggest win ever on the vlog, so you definitely want to be in with a shout. Keep watching, you'll find out how to win, and Merry Christmas. What's up everyone? We're back again at Parq today to play some 2-5. This is the Christmas special. We're going to release this on Christmas Day. Seeing as it's the season of giving, we're going to give away 10% of the action in today's game. So whatever I win, I'll give 10% to someone who puts their favourite poker hand in the comments. So we're going to hop into the 2-5 for $1,000. Keep it locked. Welcome back to the vlog everybody. We're playing 2-5 at Parq. We're in for $1,000 and we're hoping the players in the game today are like Santa Claus and going to give us plenty of presents. First hand here, we open ace-10 off, under the gun to 20 and just the button calls. We go heads up to the flop. There's 47 in the middle and it comes down to king, 7. It's a pretty good board for our range. We should have the better hands here. So we're going to go ahead and see bet. We bet 25 and he calls. Turn comes another king. So there's 3 kings on the board here. All pairs make full houses. So this is a spot where I'm going to have more of the better full houses. I've aces, queens, jacks. I've all these hands that he should be 3-betting. So we're going to bet 75 on the turn. If he calls, we're going to bet maybe like 1.52x pot on the river. The player is a reg, so he should know that I have the range advantage. We can put tons of pressure on hands like pocket 8s, pocket 9s that call flop and call turn. But he lets it go on the turn and we take down a little pot to start the session. So in this next hand we're going to play against an old nemesis of the vlog. We've played some hands against him on previous vlogs. Want to give him a shout out. Always has good things to say about the vlog. Very nice fella. Not going to say his name just to keep him anonymous, but we've battled before. He's not afraid to play big pots. So in this hand, the cutoff limps and he's on the button and opens to $30. I'm in the big blind and look down at ace queen off. Pretty good hand. We don't want to call here. We have a premium hand. We're going to want to 3-bet this up. Given we're out of position in the big blind, we want to go a slightly bigger size. So we 3-bet it up to $130. The cutoff gets out of the way and our friend calls on the button. We go heads up to a flop. There's 267 in the middle and it comes 10-3-9 rainbow. So we're going to still have the range advantage on this board. It's not as good a board as say like king 7-4 or a board like this, but it's still a board we want to be continuing with a lot of our range on here. So considering that we're going to be betting nearly all of our range, we want to choose a small size in here. So we bet $85 and he calls. Turn comes the 10 of diamonds pairing the top card. Not a great card for us as he's going to have way more 10x than us when we 3-bet out of the big blind. So given that this is a pretty terrible card, we're going to check it over and see what he does. He decides to check it back and the river comes down to 9 of diamonds. There's 437 in the middle. The 9 pairs the second card. So the board now reads 10-3-9, 10-9. So it's a double paired board. We're going to check and choose this hand to be a bluff catcher here. I think he can have a lot of pocket pairs lower than a 9, which now get counterfeit, which these are must bluff on the river. So given these reasons, yeah, he can definitely have a 9. I think he bets all his 10s on the turn, so we can exclude a 10 in his range. Definitely can have a 9, but I think if he bets here, we're just going to use this as a call. He'll probably check back his ace highs also, so if he bets, I think this is one of our better hands to call down. But he checks it back, we turn over our hand, he says it's good, and we scoop a $437 pot. So pretty nice start to the session here so far. We look down at the same hand but as before, ace queen off. Pretty strong hand. When it falls to us in the low jack, we're going to open it on up to $20. The button decides to call and we go heads up to the flop. It's 47 in the middle and it comes 2-5-4 rainbow. I think we can go two ways with this hand. We can bet or we can check. We decide on a check this time and he checks it back. Turn comes an offsuit jack. So there's no flush draws out there. I think we can bet now as well if we wanted to fold out some pocket pairs, but I would expect them to bet the flop. They don't want me to see a free card with 2 overcards. So we're going to just check again, try get this hand to showdown cheaply. He bets $25 and we're going to call again. River now comes a 5, pair in the 5. We're going to continue with the same lines for. We're going to check, see what he does. We check and he bets $90. So it's interesting here, when he checks the flop, bets turn, bets river. Yeah, he can certainly have a jack. We do block some of the better jacks he can have. So I think we're going to just call with the ace high here. I think we could be good a decent amount of the time. He's a fun player. He's been limping pre and stuff. So we just want to see what hand he shows down. See what kind of cards he's playing. We could be good here a decent amount. But he turns over 6-3 off and we lose to a flop straight. But very interesting that he's playing this hand. It's very good information to have going forward. If he's calling a hand like 6-3 off on the button pre, he's going to be playing a lot of hands. So we can definitely take advantage of that. So in this hand, under the gun 1 opens to 15. He's an older dude. I look down at King 8 of diamonds on the button. Think we can fold this hand generally, but I'm going to use it as a 3-bet bluff here. I raise it up to $50. The small blind calls and under the gun 1 calls. We're going 3 ways to a flop. There's 155 in the middle and it comes down 6 of hearts, 5 of spades, 9 of diamonds. So we flop a gut shot here and we also have a backdoor flush draw. Generally, it's not going to be the best board for our range here, but with our exact hand, we've some pretty good backdoors. We have a good shot to a straight. So for those reasons, we're going to continue with a small size. We bet 45 and the small blind folds and under the gun 1 calls. Turn now comes to 5 of diamonds. Pair in the bottom card gives us the second enough flush shot to go along with a good shot. So after under the gun 1 checks to us again, this is definitely a card we're going to bluff, especially when we pick up more equity. Not the best board for our range as a whole, but for this hand in general, we're definitely going to want to barrel the turn here. He checks to us and we decide on a side of $180 into $245. He doesn't think that long before letting it go, so nice to get that one through. We're getting our bluffs through today. We're getting paid with our value hands. So definitely going well this session. Hopefully we can keep it up. It'd be nice if we can have a pretty nice run for the rest of the session. In this hand, under the gun 1 limps. Middle position raises to 25. I look down at Queen Jack off and the big blind. Clear defend here. We call and under the gun 1 calls. We're going 3 ways to the flop. There's 77 in the middle. It comes 2 of clubs, Jack of diamonds, King of diamonds. So we flop second pair, okay kicker here. We're going to continue and just check. Under the gun 1 checks and middle position decides to check it back. So I'd expect middle position to bet a lot of his strongest hands, especially on a board like this with the flush draw and the straight draws out there. So decent chance that we have the best hand. Turn comes the king of spades, pair and the king. So it makes it less likely that anyone has a king. I doubt middle position has a king. I wouldn't expect them to check it back. And I think under the gun 1 would raise the strongest kings, such as ace king, king queen. So for those reasons, I think we have a clear value bet here with second pair. We bet $50 and only under the gun 1 calls. River comes the 9 of clubs. It does complete the queen 10 straight, but we do block it. I would expect at some frequency queen 10 to raise. So given that I don't think he has a king, given that diamonds miss, I think we have a clear value bet here with second pair. We can get him to call with some smaller pocket pairs, so we don't need to go too big. We bet $80. He calls, I turn over my hand, and it's the winner. We look down at a pretty nice hand here. King, queen of spades and the cutoff. We're going to open it up to $20. The small blind calls and the big blind decides to 3-bet to $140. Pretty big size, but it's what you'd expect out of the big blind, especially with the caller. We're pretty deep. He starts the hand with about 1560. So pretty standard 300 big blinds deep to go bigger. We have just a pure call here with king, queen of spades. The small blind gets out of the way. The flop comes down 10 of hearts, 4 of spades, jack of spades. So we flop an open ender and the second off flush draw. Probably the best flop we could ask for without making a made hand. He continues for $150 and I think we're just going to call here. He's going to have aces, kings, queens. He can also have some sets that he's going to continue on this board for the big sides. But we have a ton of equity here. We can make some pretty strong hands and play a pretty big pot when we hit them. So we're just going to call. The turn comes 2 of spades, giving us the second enough flush. He bets out 250. Absolute dream spot for us here to make the second nuts in a big 3-bet pot. This pot's already pretty massive. There's 850 in the middle when he puts out the 250. So we want to raise here and start shoveling money in the pot and try get stacks in. We raise up to 625. He thinks for a few. Eventually shoves in his remaining $1,260. So yeah, sometimes we might lose to a better flush. It's mainly just going to be the ace 10 of spades or some ace x of spades, but we block a lot of the best spades, so not very likely we're behind. He could just have an overpair. Say aces with a spade makes a lot of sense, kings with a spade sometimes, but I think he should call these hands more, but he could be more inclined just to rip them in. But we're pretty happy to stick in the call here. River comes to 10 of diamonds, so all sets now make a bow. Usually this would be a scare card, but I wouldn't expect him to shove jacks or 10s on the turn when I raise. I think when the flush comes in, he'd be more inclined just to call with these hands. He might shove them sometimes, but I think we don't need to be as worried about the board pairing as much as we usually would. We turn over a hand. He says it's good. He says he had a lower flush, which is a pretty sick cooler. He shoves, so we actually could have seen his hand first, but generally, when I think I more than likely have the best hand, I usually just turn my cards over. Yeah, I might lose a bit of EV by not making people show their hands, but I like to just keep the game going quickly. I don't want people to have to show their hands when I know I more than likely have the best hand. Like, you don't want to be that asshole who's just like, you bluff the river and he calls with a really strong hand and it's like, oh, I need to see your cards first. Nothing tilts me as much as that. Don't be that guy. Just, if you have the winner, turn it over. You don't need to squeeze out every ounce of EV by seeing everyone's cards at all times. Nothing pisses me off more than that. If the other player is an asshole now, you can definitely make him show his cards, but that's just reserved for when people are being, yourself. But feels pretty nice. The session's going really well. We just scooped a $3,120 pot, so that's always nice. The sun run is continuing. Long may it last. So this hand, under the gun, opens to 30. He's an old guy, so he's opened 6x. The hijack calls, and I look down at ace-5 of diamonds in the cutoff. Usually, this would be one of my 3-betting hands. It's a good candidate to squeeze, but when an old dude opens 6x under the gun, I think we don't want to really be bluffing. We want to just have value when we raise. So we call with the ace-5 of diamonds, and the big blind also comes along. There's 122 in the middle, and the flop comes down 3 of hearts, 6 of diamonds, 9 of diamonds. So pretty good flop for us here. We flopped enough flush draw. We're not going to be going anywhere. The big blind checks. Under the gun continues for 50. A smaller sizing than I would have expected. I would have expected if he did have a big overpair to go closer to 100. The hijack folds. We're just going to call with enough flush draw, and the big blind also calls. Turn now comes to 10 of hearts. There's 272 in the middle. The big blind checks, and now under the gun decides to check. I'd still expect him to barrel on such a wet board like this with his overpairs, but when it gets to us, I think we're going to bluff here. We've enough flush draw. We can make the nuts on the river. We can get 2 people to fold and pick up a pretty nice pot if they do. We decide on a sizing of $170. Both players fold, so another pretty good result. We're picking up all these pots where we're just getting our bluffs through. It's just one of them days. Everything is going right. We're pretty locked in at the table. I feel like we're playing pretty well, which is always nice, and it helps when the cards are going your way. So in this hand, the player to our right had just left, so we're in the small blind, but we have to post the big blind. And thank God we did, because this ends up working out really well for us. Under the gun limps, and the old guy in middle position makes it 15. I call, the big blind gets out of the way, and under the gun calls. So we're going 3 ways to a flop. There's 50 in the middle, and it comes 9, 10, king. So we flop middle player, and a good shot to a straight here. Under the gun now leads out for 25. Middle position calls. Given that we're getting 4 to 1, we can make our straight. We can hit some 2 pairs. Don't think we can do anything here other than call. We call, and the turn comes a 10, giving us trips. So I decide to lead out here for 90. We generally don't do too much leading, but I think in this spot, it's likely that it could get checked if no one has a 10. So I think it's fine to lead our trips here. And this is the beauty of live poker, is that we don't need to be balanced here. Like, generally, I think we just can do this only with a 10. Like, no one's going to be picking up on that. Like, we should, in theory, always have bluffs. But I think against these 2 players, I'm just happy to only do it with a 10. I'm not going to get exploited by them, so it's going to be fine. Middle position calls, and we go off to a river. There's 305 in the middle, and it comes to Jack of Clubs. An absolute gin card, because it gives us a full house, but not only that, any queen is now a straight, and the club flush draw gets there. So given that he could have made a load of strong hands on this river, I think this is a river spot where we're going to want to be greedy. There's 305 in the middle. I decide I'm going to have to bet massive here. I'm going to bet 2x pot and bet $600. Because he can have these straights and these flushes, we want to put him in a tough spot. I feel like he's not the type of player to fold. We just want to be as greedy as possible and get max value. And it's the same as before. I think I just always have a full house when I do this. Like, in theory, I'm supposed to have bluffs here, but I don't think I'm going to ever bet 2x pot into this player on the river as a bluff. Maybe against a really good reg, we can start to find some bluffs, but I just don't think we have any, and that's going to be fine. In these live lineups, you don't have to be balanced in every spot. You just need to treat every spot as how to maximize with your hand. So I want to make as much money as possible while we have the full house. While he can have so many strong hands, we're just going to want to bet absolutely massive. It's a spot to be greedy. If we did say this hand was against a reg and we wanted to incorporate some bluffs, well then we could maybe go with a sizing that's closer to pot, and it will allow us to find some bluffs so we don't torch off 600 quid when we are bluffing. But against this exact player, we're just going to go for 2x pot. Let's see what he does. He tanks for a long time and then flicks in the call. We turn over the full house. It's good, and we scoop a $1,500 pot there. So getting greedy on the river definitely worked out for us. And for the final hand of the vlog today, under the gun opens to 35, so a 7x open. I look down at ace queen of clubs in the small blind. Think versus this size, the fact that it's under the gun, we're just going to call instead of 3-betting. We don't want to get 4-bet, we're going to be out of position, so I think a call is just going to be fine. Our ace queen suited, we can make a lot of good hands. Flop comes down ace 4-5. So pretty good flop for us. We're only losing to ace king and some 2 pairs and sets, but they're probably unlikely. We check it in flow and he checks it back. Turn out comes to 6 of spades, bringing in a flush draw. There's lots of straight draws and stuff out here. We're in the small blind. We probably have more of these cards, so we're going to want to size up to $70. He probably is not going to put us on a hand as good as ace queen. He probably figures we'll have a lot of bluffs on this turn. He calls. River now comes a queen. We make 2 pair. There's 215 in the middle. We're just going to go with an overbet size in here. We bet 275 into 215. We can have a lot of bluffs here, so hoping he peels us with maybe a hand like ace 10 that check back, or even a hand like kings, jacks. He might just hero. He calls. We turn over a hand and it's the winner. And another 765 being added to our stack. So unbelievable day here. Everything just went right. We've a stack of over 4k in front of us. Santa definitely came early this year because we absolutely crushed the game. The heater continues. We've had no losing sessions this month, which is crazy in itself, but always nice to have a big win when you're giving away 10% of the sessions. So if you want to win that, just comment your favourite poker hand below. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel, and I'm out. Happy Christmas. Have a good one. I'll see you in the new year. Right, so that wraps up today's session. We were into the game for 1,000 out for 4,045 for a profit of $3,045. Pretty insane session today, especially this close to Christmas. Feel like we were locked in, we played really well. Obviously we hit some big hands and stuff, but just one of them days where every bluff's getting through, every value bet's getting paid, so they're few and far between, so we'll take them when we get them. So for anyone that's tuning in all the way to here, comment your favourite hand below. I'm giving away 10% of the wins this session, which is like $300. So if you want to win that, just comment below your favourite poker hand. Make sure you're subscribed, and I'll pick someone at the Calgary trip just before we head. I'll do a video and announce the winner of the $300. So see you on the next one. Have a good Christmas. Thanks.